What's up, guys and gals? My name is Splattercat, and we are here with the next episode of our Gnomoria playthrough. If you enjoyed the previous episode, I'm really glad to hear it, in fact, because I was nervous about doing Gnomoria again. It's one of those games, I get a lot of requests for Dwarf Fortress, but it's just not a game that I feel I could dedicate to on my channel. It's just not something that I feel like I have the energy to properly apply myself to. Plus, I haven't played Dwarf Fortress in probably like 2 years, so it's a major time investment on my hand to learn how to play the game. Gnomoria, by contrast, I know how to play pretty well, and so we'll go ahead and continue playing. Now, what we had cast ourselves with in the early game, there's kind of two lines of thought here. You can sprint really hard to get a first month trader, and I forget what day he shows up on. It's been a while. It's pretty early. It's like the 5th day or like the 7th day or something like that, and a trader will show up on that day of every single month. You can rush really hard to set up a market in order to get that first trader. Now, because we've already got our farms and things set up, I don't think that's going to be necessary for us. I think that that's going to be one of those things that I don't feel like sprinting anyways. I feel like taking it a little bit slow here and making sure that everybody's with me as I go through and kind of like do the other random little things that you need to do on a playthrough. So she's now producing planks. Let's go ahead and make a check. I let like 30 seconds pass in between episodes. I don't think we are going to have that many planks yet, but we could use them if we have them. So let's take a look here. We have 12 planks. I think that should be enough to get our stone carver up and running. And so I'm going to call this my little stone workshop, the place where everybody gets stoned. And so we're going to go over and we're going to make a stone cutter. That's going to be the first thing that you need. Now, the stone cutter converts raw stone into stone blocks, which are going to be very important for a number of your craftings later on. One of the things that they've added since the last time I played Gnomoria as well is if you look at anything that you've built, it's got prerequisite things that you need, like the workbench, the chair, and the chisel. Now, what they've added since the last time I played anyways is the option to craft the missing ingredients the second you queue it up. What that means is the second that you put something down on the ground, it just adds it to the queue of all of your crafting stations, all the things that you need. Now, there is a downside to this feature, is that if you overuse it, you're going to end up with just all kinds of jobs flying around everywhere. It's going to be incredibly inconvenient, and it's going to be difficult to get anything done. However, let's see here, it should add it to the front of the queue too. Yeah, and so there's the workbench, if you see right there, that we're gonna need, and you should be able to make the chair next too. Yeah, I didn't send the other one over to here, so that's fine. That's actually a really good thing, because I would prefer that she actually not make the chair, for the reason that if he's making a workbench and she's making a chair, nobody's making planks. If she just decides to muscle her way through and keep making planks, it actually makes his job a little bit easier. And so there he is, gathering up all his stuff to make a chair. And why do we need the blocks? Well, the blocks are going to allow us to make a saw blade from the next thing that we make, which is going to be the stone mason. The stone mason. The stone mason is going to be the next thing that we craft after we get this thing done. The stone mason is going to allow us to make a saw blade. Why do we want the saw blade? Well, because it allows us to make a, let's see here, what did they call it? I don't think they call it a sawmill. They call it, oh, they do call it a sawmill. Okay. It allows us to make a sawmill, which is basically an upgraded badass version of these little kind of crappy stations right here, where it'll allow us to make planks a lot faster, in that we can just assign one guy to make planks for the remainder of his life or her life, and that is what they will do. They'll just sit around making planks nonstop. It appears as though it's time for communal nap time. Everybody's just clonked out. Beardy Man over here has decided to just kind of hingle, I guess is his name. That'd be kind of funny if he got shingles, because then Hingle would have shingles. And if he ate Pringles while he had shingles, Hingle would be eating Pringles while he had shingles, which would be amazing. Brew Fuzzy, I'm not even going to try, and I'm not even going to go out of my way to try and rhyme that. Brew Fuzzy seems like it's got too many constituent parts, and I don't think I could make it through. Alright, so everybody's asleep now, and while in the previous episode, everybody being asleep gave us the chance to set up all of our farming, in this episode, it doesn't help us quite so much because we've got nothing else going on. We don't have the production capacity to be able to kind of queue anything up for creation right now. And so what I will do is, while everybody sleeps in the middle of the day, they're kind of running on the schedule that I run on when I'm not in college, like staying up till 6 in the morning and sleeping till 5 at night. But anyways, I think I'm going to take a look around the map, and we're going to kind of take stock of what we have for future developments. Now, there is a lot of birch here. If you wanted to rank the trees, pine is worth the least. And we want to talk about kingdom worth while we're sitting here. Kingdom worth can be accessed through the kingdom menu on the general overview. If you click here, it'll give you this wonderful overview where it'll tell you what the value of all of your stocks are, and it'll add everything together, your constructions, your raw stocks, and that's the total worth of your kingdom. The total worth of your kingdom dictates how wealthy you are. It dictates how often you'll be attacked by foreign enemies. They'll come from other maps and kind of assault you. And it also dictates, I believe, a couple other facets of the gameplay, of which I don't feel comfortable speaking. But anyways, that's basically your score for the game. Think of the higher that is, the better. However, you do want to tailor it sometimes where you don't want it to go up too fast. Otherwise, you won't have enough gnomes to defend yourself from all of the jackals that come riding in on the breeze. we have the diplomacy menu here. This is nothing that I've ever seen before. This is completely and totally new, so this is going to be a system that I have to learn along the way, unfortunately. Workshops, we've got a list of all of our workshops right here so that you can go through and queue up jobs from one central location. I'm doing this as kind of like a tutorial thing, and I realize time's not running right now. Farms, you can do the same thing, pastures, and rooms. And so basically you can manage just about everything with production through your kingdom menu if you really want to. But anyways, while you're crafting things, we've talked about kingdom worth. Every material has a different worth, so let's talk about pine for just a second. And when it comes to pine is absolutely 100% like worthless. Nobody wants it. Pine is just not a thing that anybody's really interested in. I think if you make like a pine table, it's worth like 10 bucks or like 10 gold or whatever the currency is here. If you go for oranges, those are worth a little bit more. Orange trees. Apple trees are worth a bit too. However, birch trees are basically like wooden gold. If you have wooden gold, you're pretty well set up. You're in a space where I feel like if you've got yourself with a bunch of birch, you'll be able to make birch tables, you'll be able to make just about birch everything, and your kingdom worth will explode like overnight. Everybody has woken back up now, they're getting back to work. This has been kind of, I suppose, denoted by a green aura here, and with its green aura, we will find that it is being currently crafted. And so now that it's done, we want to take stock of how many planks we have really quickly, and I'm doing that through the completely wrong menu. We'll go to stocks and then items. And in our item tabulature, we've got 6 planks right now, so we want to let them craft planks for a couple more minutes. I've maybe let them go till, I don't know, maybe like 1800 possibly. That should be enough time to maybe get 4 or 5 more planks. And so once we've got all of our planking done, we'll be able to start making our next location, which is going to be pretty sweet. Down here, I need to assign some of my miners to make blocks. And so we're just going to tell them to do that on, actually, let's craft blocks out to 25. We want to make sure that we have a pretty good supply of blocks. Just loads and loads of blocks being used. And so once this little kind of underlighting right here, that's how we roll in Nompton. It's all about underlighting and rims. And so we even underlight our workbenches because that's how hard we roll. Like when we go hard here in Nompton, we go super hard. So anyways, you'll see that she's now down here crafting all of our raw kind of stone into blocks, which are going to be useful because we need those marble blocks to make saw blades, we need them to make knife blades, we need them to make all kinds of preliminary stuff for all of our later creations. And so making sure that everybody's not idle, we're doing a bit of hauling right now. I don't think farming's going to be ready to go. I think they're still planting some of the major fields. And so that's something that I don't have any of my seedlings or anything centralized, so it's going to take a while for him to get it done. It's okay, though. It's okay. What you'll also see here is it doesn't really matter that I made the wheat field as large as I did because we didn't have enough seeds to go around anyways. So it kind of self-limits. It's all right. I think between these two, these were 10 by 4, which means we have 80 strawberry plants growing, which should be enough for the next little bit, although we are going to have to expand out a lot of our food production. I don't want to assign any lumber harvesting right now. We want to do 0 lumberjacking. Jacking the lumber is not something that we want to do at the moment because it's going to take all of our woodcutters away from the current job, and we just need them to be down here stacking out planks like all day, every day. It's 2300, so I think I've overshot myself slightly. We're going to put in a stonemason now. And the stonemason is going to be useful because he is actually going to make the saw blade that we need. And so Top Hat Man is off to work. Oop, and I've pressed the wrong key here. He's off to work creating the things that we need for this bench. We're doing pretty well right now. I don't think we're running quite at the speed of like a professional Gnomoria player, and I don't think there is such a thing, but we're not running at the speed of someone who plays Gnomoria a lot more than I do, for example. The other thing we're going to need is a great hall down in here, and so that's something to think about. Why do we need a great hall? Well, we need a great hall because we need a great place to eat. And given that there's no restaurants around, we're going to have to make our own. So the Great Hall acts as kind of a centralized location where dignitaries can meet, where basically everything happens. Like your guards, if they don't have a job, they'll hang out in the Great Hall. If anybody's idle, they'll just kind of sit around there, and that is what they will do. In addition, it has the added bonus of multiplying the value of any item placed inside of it because it's the things that you're putting on notice for everybody else to see. And so anything you put in this room will increase your kingdom's value way, way quicker than it would just kind of sitting out in the open on its own. And we want to do that because by the end of our first season, we want to have a lot of kingdom worth because that's going to allow us to attract a lot more nomads. And yes, this game is fun. It's completely and totally full of fun gnomish wordplay, just in case you were wondering. Next thing we want to do is go to the stonemason, and we want to get him going with a saw blade. We just need the one. And once the one saw blade has been taken care of, and we should see somebody sprint down here pretty quickly, more than likely a miner. There it is right there. He's taking the block, and bam, there it is right there. And so now what we want to do is we want to make that sawmill so that we're no longer relying on the good graces of our crude workbenches because they are really kind of inefficient and terrible. I'm going to place it right here because I like that positioning. And so as you can see, we should be able to get that done, I think, before everybody goes to bed. I can't guarantee that before everybody kind of clocks out for the night we'll get it done, but the sawmill is going to expedite all of our building processes. Believe you me, it's really, really going to help. And so hopefully nobody goes to bed before this gets done. I want the sawmill done before day 5. And so it'll probably get done either way based on the fact that we've put down beds. If you don't put down beds, they spend way too much time sleeping, and you're going to find yourself in just this nasty place where you can't get anything done because everybody is just sleeping all the time. We've got blocks being placed right there. Sooner or later, I will replace the floor here in this room and all of the walls with the blocks that we need. However, on a more interesting note, I think on the opposite side of... How big is this room? This is a 14 or a 15 by 10, so 150 spaces. Okay, that's kind of large. I don't think we're going to need that. So instead, I'll go 15 by 5. And then I'll be a bit more kind of clever over here. We'll have the same amount of space, but we'll kind of segment it out on stockpile versus working space. And this is going to be the kitchen so that people can grab the food, they can go to the Great Hall, and it'll all right be at their fingertips. It'll be absolutely 100% where they need it. Come on, sawmill. I know you can do it before all of my... Aw, lumberjack went to bed. That's not a good sign. Especially since the one's still working. I could cancel his job. Let's do that. Let's cancel his job. We'll cancel the plank, and then that should allow him to get down here, and yeah, he'll start working on this. And that's one of the big things that we have to get done in the early game. If there's one thing you want to sprint for, it's the sawmill. And so, as a recap, oh, he didn't make it. He has to go to bed too. Alright, it's not that big of a deal. I know I'm making it sound vocally as though it's a big deal. It's not. It's just one of those things that I like to get done as quickly as possible. So, if you want to look at the hierarchy for what you want to get done in your early game, you want to make sure planting gets done early, you need to clear a space for yourself to live, and then everything after that is a race for the sawmill, at least in my personal opinion. You need to get to the sawmill, and so the constituent parts that you're going to need for the sawmill, you're going to need workbenches, turn things into planks. After you turn them into planks, you're going to need a stone cutter. Once you've got the stone cutter, you're going to turn things into blocks, and you're going to create yourself a stone mason with the planks you're making over here. Once you have all 4 of these, you have all of the things you need to make a stone cutter. So one last time, crude workbench, stone cutter, and stone mason. There you are. So if you're starting the game out, I feel as though I've given you a pretty good preliminary reading as to where you need to be. I have read the tarot unto your fate and said this is where things need to be. A little bit of a pre-reading, I suppose, for your own playthrough. Now, by no means are you restricted in playing the game like I do. There will be plenty of people, I promise you, who point out the iniquities, I suppose, or the impurities, the nooks and crannies in my playstyle, but nonetheless, there it is. I like to explain my motives as I go through the game. All of my woodcutters are sleeping, so one thing that we can guarantee is that no woodworking is going to get done. The wood is not being worked. Everybody is pretty much communally sadder because of it. We also can't chop down any trees. Now, I do want to eyeball... We should probably think about cutting some clippings from some of these fruit trees that are out and about too, so that we can get some orchards growing, because I would love to have a couple of orchards before winter. The thing is, right now, we start off in spring. If you take a look at the top right corner, it's the 4th day of spring. I think there's 12 days in each season, as I recall. It's been a while though. But anyways, we start in spring, we've got summer and fall to get ready, but once you get to winter, plants no longer grow. And so it's just kind of like you will be surviving on the stocks that you have, and you will be surviving based on whether merchants decide to show up to help you in your plight. Have you guys woken up yet? Oh, they have. Good. And so there's the sawmill. It's now going. And bam, we have ourselves a sawmill. So what I want to do now is I'm going to pause the game. We're going to deconstruct one of these, not both. Now, why are we not deconstructing both? Because we still need one of these to produce workbenches and chairs for us. And if we get rid of that, we'll just have to build another one because there's no other way. Well, I suppose we could do it through the stone cutter, but I'm trying to save my stone right now for kind of my beautification stuff. I'm trying to make everything work with wood right now. And so what I'll do is I'm actually going to put planks over here at the sawmill. We'll put it on repeat. And we're only going to do pine. Let's do pine plank, in fact. Add a little bit more specificity to our crafting queue. There it is. And we're going to have pine planks on repeat. That means we can free this individual from creating planks and just back off right there. And now we are set up to create every other crafting location that we need. And what you'll notice is if you watch right here, they make planks much, much quicker from here. It'll just be like bam, 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 bam. It'll be quick. So anyways, let's go to our workshop menu. We're going to start putting up our woodworking. The next thing we need is a carpenter, which will make us wooden chairs, wooden just about everything to adorn our facilities. And that'll mean we can get rid of this other crude workshop because frankly it's stinking the place up. I've just about had it. So there it is. He's collecting up all of the planks that are being crafted, and I actually think that I should probably limit this. In fact, we should probably say that this could craft to 25 maybe. Seems a pretty... It's an aggressive amount of planks to have on hand at all time, but I think if I have any major building projects where I'm just like, bam, and I want to knock out like an entire wing of my place, that should be about enough planks to get at least all of the supporting stuff done that we need. Down here, we could make a stone carver if we wanted to go for it. If we really wanted to go head down and just kind of get completely and totally kind of muscular about the whole thing. I don't think we will, though. Let's go ahead and get him in place first. The second that's built, we can get rid of this finally. So let's go ahead and deconstruct this ugly bastard right here because I'm tired of looking at it. There it is. He is now going to be deconstructed by the nearest builder. And the other thing that we should probably consider doing is building some of our storage now that we have it. Remember those crates that were laying out in the middle of nowhere? Well, you can place those by right-clicking, going to Build, and going to the Storage menu. Now, please note that if you don't have any crates on hand, this will queue up a bunch of crates for crafting, so you can totally kind of screw yourself as far as crafting queues go if you do that, but nonetheless, there it is. On this floor, I think I'm going to mine this out a little bit further as well. And we're going to turn this into a place to store all of our seed. So if we need a place to deposit our seed, this will be the hole in which we do it. And so we're going to dig this on out, and then I'm going to expand this zone right here, and we're going to change it from both dirt, we're going to change it from dirt to both dirt and seeds, and then we're going to place some seed bags in here so that we're a little bit more efficient about our storage. Let's go right-click, designate area as a stockpile. As long as we make sure that that inner stockpile is included in the rubber band box, you will see here that it will copy and paste all of the kind of designations that we've given, and then we need to go down and we need to add plants to the whole thing. And so that's going to add seeds, clippings, and grains. And then finally, we need to build ourselves some bags in here. Those are under the storage menu where we had crates just a moment ago. And I think we only have 2 bags, so there it is. We'll put in 2 bags because we don't have the facilities available right now to make more bags. They require like weaveries and all kinds of crazy stuff, which we're not going to have until our second season. There are ways to get them before the second season, and that's the reason why a lot of people like to rush the first trader, is so that you can potentially get a bone needle. However, I don't think you're guaranteed a bone needle in the stocks and wares of your first trader, so that's why I don't gamble with it. If you are guaranteed, then I suppose I'm in error, and I probably should try and hustle my way through it. Now that he's making planks, how many do we have? Quite a lot, in fact. And so the next thing that I'd like to do is continue our workshops for wood by going with a... Actually, no, we're not going to do that. I think as an alternative, let's go ahead and go with a... We'll go with a market stall now. We'll do the market stall a little bit earlier, even though there's... I think it's on the 5th day that the merchant shows up, but we're still going to try it. So we'll put it... I don't know, we can place it just about anywhere. I think I'll put it right there, though. And so that'll give one of our builders something to do as we play through this second episode. Other things that I'd like to do is, now that we aren't constricted by a lot of construction, we do want to get kind of our food stuff set up. So after that's done, we'll probably give that a consideration. It is going to take us a few more complicated things to make this. This is by no means kind of a simple construction. We need tables for this one, which are completely and totally different from workbenches. Tables require a bunch of sticks, they require a bunch of planks, they take forever to craft, and so make sure that you've got the stuff on hand before you start this bastard, because it will weigh down an entire episode. And in fact, even with all the planks that I have already, there is still the possibility that it will weigh me down for the foreseeable future and kind of keep me from using any of my woodsmen or lumberjacks appropriately for the next, probably half a day or so. There's the first table mashed out. I think with what we have available, we should be able to go through that construction really, really quickly. And that kind of elucidates and shows off why you need this sawmill. If you don't have it, you just simply cannot produce planks at the rate that you need to produce planks. You need planks to be flying out just all over the place. You need to be up in here just shearing things in half all day long. And so that's the thing that we've been able to do now that we have it. Other things that I'd like to concern myself with right now, just so you know what the designation is going to be, let's designate this as the dining room. And before, if you want your dining room to become your great hall, you just have to check this little box right here. If you don't know where that box is, you can click it through any of these right here. So if you click on the stockpile and you go to great hall, it's right there. You can just unclick it just in case you want to move it around later and you don't like the way it looks. It's an option that's available to you. The other thing that I'd like to do is maybe start replacing some of the walls in here. And so to do that properly, we're going to need a miner to come in and get rid of some of these corners. I don't need that to happen. I've screwed up. I don't need that to happen either. Never mind. I need, however, I think that right there as well. Everywhere that we've got a corner, I've got to like mine it out a little bit further. There we are. And so why am I doing that? Well, we're going to replace some terrain here. So let's replace walls. And I'm going to replace the walls with block walls. And we're just going to start out very, very slow because I don't want to give too many jobs here. But we do want to replace the walls of our Great Hall with some things that look a little bit better. And so we're going to put in some brick walls because obviously living with dirt walls makes it look like we live in a hovel. Everybody's dirty all the time. People don't want to come to trade with us. They don't want to like dignify us as a real society. They're just like, you know what, they live in a dirt hole. That's not like a real place to live. Oh good, some of the hauling is getting done. That pleases me. That makes me very happy. I may put a few crates in here, and while that's probably ill-advised right now considering how long it takes to make some crates, with how long it takes to make some crates, I still think it would be great to slate the job to throw it in here. There we go. I can rhyme my way through this. I know that I can. And so, let's do that. Let's go with some storage. We'll put a couple crates in here. Go like 3 crates for now. That should be enough. I think that'll work out to our advantage. I love the fact that we got marble, by the way. The fact that we got marble pleases me because I don't like the coloration of some of the... Like, for example, if you get serpentine or if you get kind of... Some of the other colors, they're just kind of weirdly colored and it makes it feel like you're living in Crayon Funland. I prefer to have stones that are like their proper colors right now. And in fact, I think... God, I can't remember if it's serpentine that's blue, but serpentine isn't blue in real life as far as I know. All the serpentine I've ever seen is kind of a greenish white. And I don't think that serpentine is green in this game. I think there is a green stone of some kind. Like a lapis lazuli or something like that. Or maybe it's lapis lazuli that's blue. I don't remember. I'm talking about within the context of the game, of course. Maybe it is lapis lazuli walls that you carve out that are blue in the game. But anyways, I don't like living in like Skittle Funland. I don't like the way that it looks. And so as you can see, our net worth has grown because we've replaced these walls. And if you want to look at the value of any item, you can just click on it and go to it, and there it is. A marble block wall. Now, marble is really expensive in the real world, so I don't know why it's so cheap here, but I think they probably did it as a balance measure. Which is cool, I'm okay with that. We will continue replacing all of our walls with stone, because I don't think I actually have that many people working on it. So let's go. We'll just assign that as kind of a long-term project here for us. Oh, and that's not what I wanted. I went out one too far. We want it to go like this. So there it is. And then we'll replace these little capstones in just a few minutes. Making your Great Hall like super awesome in your first year or your first season is probably a smart idea, because on the day that each season starts, so first day of any season, you'll get a bunch of gnomish travelers who come and join your society because it's so awesome. And so you want to make sure, and that's dictated by your kingdom worth, so make sure that your kingdom looks worthwhile. Oh no, I screwed up. I messed up. I put in block walls in the other locations. I have made a mistake, so let's go ahead and back off that. We didn't cost ourselves too much time, but it is still kind of a foolish mistake. And so let's go back, and we wanted that to be a stone. We wanted that to be a block wall. There it was. And so let's go ahead and just kind of requeue that, since we don't have a choice. We'll just leave it right there for now. That was my badsies. And so I think I'm probably going to break the episode off right here for now, but let's talk for a few minutes about what our medium-term goals are. I'm going to leave it running sort of slowly. I feel as though the game used to run faster. I don't know if anybody can validate that for me, but I feel like this one right here, the double time, I thought it was triple time before. I always felt like the game ran a little bit faster the last time I played. But anyways, so our goals for the future. Make our Great Hall look nice. We also want to get our kitchen set up along with its stockpile that goes along with it in the next episode. Naming our gnomes, probably a priority, but I'm going to do that off camera. On the top side, we want to focus on building ourselves a wall pretty soon. I'm not going to practice the walling in strategy because I feel like it's cheesy. And so I'm going to leave a hole in the wall. However, that is going to be a guard post realistically. So we're going to have guards standing outside. It's going to look like a cool castle. And I think that's going to be our goals, not for the next episode for the wall, but our goals for the next episode are still largely going to be clerical, I suppose, making sure that just everything has its own proper place. We want to move our way out to making ourselves some cloth too, so I may get a loom going. I may get all of our storage solutions taken care of, but past that point we'll probably have to do some further scavenging for food just because our food stockpiles are looking a bit low. But I'm happy with where we're at right now. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here in Nompton for another episode of Gnomoria. Hi do to all of you, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Don't forget, leave me your gnomish names if you want to be somebody, and try to keep it in theme. I was thinking about that. Give yourself a gangster gnome name. I'll see you guys in the next episode.